Hello everyone, here's your weather hazard briefing for Saturday, December 17th. We continue with a persistent weather pattern through the weekend into the early part of next week, mainly Monday. The chance of snow looks like Tuesday and Wednesday for midweek. It starts to increase across the area. This persistent pattern, it's low clouds, freezing fog, or some light snow where we get the lower clouds to settle in, and they're really not going anywhere. We may see some ebb and flow with that, may see it move a little bit one direction to come back down another direction, and of course it's kind of dissipating later on the end of the day as we have seen in the past several days. Better chance of snow Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's especially for the Sawtooth, the Big Holes and Tetons, also the Bear River Range. They'll see most of the snow with this event. Cold this weekend, gradually warming up as we head towards midweek. So, satellite loop this morning, you can see we have some higher clouds moving over the stratus deck. The stratus is the bluish-gray color here on our satellite loop. And with this little bit of higher cloud cover coming over, just like the past several days, that's helping basically dropping some ice crystals from the higher clouds into the lower clouds, and that helps basically kick off some light snow or flurries, and that certainly is the case once again this morning. The weather risk outlook really has not changed much as we go through Monday. Later Monday, there will be a little bit of an increase in light snow in the higher elevations around the Sawtooth and also Limhi County. As we go into Tuesday, we have the snow increasing. It will be breezy in the higher elevations, so a little more of an impact for the southeast and eastern highlands, also around the Sawtooth. And area-wide, that's our best chance of snow and the best chance of seeing any impacts from snow across areas. So it'll be breezy, and especially where we can get that snow to be able to stay fluffy and it's colder, a little better chance of blowing and drifting snow as we go into Wednesday. So going once again, we've been showing this the past few days. This basically kind of emulates where we're seeing some of the moisture falling, whether in the higher elevations, we might see some light snow or flurries, but certainly from Island Park all the way down in the Magic Valley, some of the higher elevations of the southern and southeast highlands, indicating where that cloud cover is, and also the potential for light snow or flurries in those general areas. So we go through time today, you'll notice we start to see that dissipate or erode from the southwest and also across the southern and southeastern highlands as we go through the day. It'll stick around a little bit longer, especially where it can stay and entrench down towards Malad and the Cache Valley. But you can see going into late afternoon, evening, the bulk of this is being pushed back up into mainly the eastern highlands and the upper Snake Plain. That's not to say elsewhere we won't still see some fog or stratus or even some light snow, but most likely by late this afternoon that'll be confined up farther to the north. That trend continues into the overnight hours and into Sunday morning across the area. But like I said, anywhere we can get some stratus, that is a light snow potential going with that. What also may happen, a lot of times, we get a little bit of clearing overnight that allows those temperatures to drop. As soon as it gets cold enough, we get enough of things condense and we go back to seeing fog across the area. So where we're seeing the less potential for stratus and light snow tonight, basically the potential is there for a better chance of fog in those areas. We go into tomorrow, trends really don't change that much across the area, but as we go into late Sunday night into Monday morning, that potential may end up actually spreading back farther down to the south. The bulk of it, again, up around Island Park and Rexburg, the upper plain, but there is a potential for it to spread back down the Snake Plain and back into the valleys of the southeast highlands as we go into Monday morning. So back to some more particulars in our forecast. For today, temperatures in the teens and 20s, where the colder air doesn't really filter in with this particular push. It's not a big push, but the colder air is filtering in. And you see where it's in the single digits and teens, that's where we're expecting a little more stratus, a little more of the inversion to hold. Otherwise, into the 20s elsewhere, especially down towards Oakley, down towards Malta, and also over into portions of the Central Mountains. The colder air really doesn't get over that far. Going into tomorrow morning, you'll notice plenty of single digits and teens above and below zero across the board. Wind chill's not terribly low, except out across the Arco Desert, also up towards Gilmore Summit, also up towards Lone Pine. some of the higher elevations there along the Montana Divide, also there around that Gilmore Summit area. Some of those wind chills this morning around 15 to 20 below zero, I should say, tomorrow morning in those areas. Going into tomorrow afternoon, a little bit of a warm up, and you'll notice maybe a few spots hitting right around 30 or just above 30, maybe just brushing freezing tomorrow afternoon. Going back to Monday morning, temperatures still in the single digits above to single digits below zero, maybe a few areas right around 10 above or 10 below zero for overnight lows. You notice those wind chills still running around 15 to maybe 20, 25 below in the highest elevations of the Central Mountains and along the Divide. We're really not expecting a whole lot of wind, but it's a case of it's cold enough. There's not a lot of wind. It doesn't take much wind to get those wind chills dropping down into dangerous levels this time of year. High is Monday. Not changing too much, especially up north where we can keep a little bit more stratus in place. The inversion holds a little bit longer, but you'll notice down into the Treasure Valley, the Magic Valley, down into the South Hills, a few more areas trying to hit right around freezing. Going into Tuesday, that's when the warm-up begins. We briefly hit above freezing for portions of the Magic Valley along the I-84 corridor down towards Malta, Oakley, over towards Twin Falls and Jackpot in the mid-30s briefly. Anything that falls should still fall as snow on Tuesday. And going into Wednesday, very similar conditions. And like I said, a few more lower 30s popping up down south, but it still looks like everything should fall as snow. But that also means instead of a fluffy snow, some areas that see those warmer temperatures, it'll be a wetter snow falling through the area. Now, looking ahead, potentially at least some idea of what might fall for snow with this event. It's early to get some numbers out there. And again, we want to emphasize, especially in the mountains, it'll be breezy, so blowing or drifting is there. The potential is there, especially where we get that snow to stay a little more fluffy versus wet. Looking at the Sawtooth, the Eastern Highlands, the Bear River Range, almost a gimme for seeing. And these are for amounts over 1 inch. So you'll notice the mountains getting it pretty good, especially in the upslope areas for northwest flow, the Sawtooth, over in the Eastern Highlands and western Wyoming. But you'll notice the potential goes way down up north across around Mud Lake. The potential is only 15% of seeing more than an inch. You get down into portions of the Magic Valley, the lower Snake Plain, we're talking about 35-45% chance of seeing an inch or more of snow. We'll push this up to 4 inches or more, and you'll notice we really start to lose that potential. We're talking very low potential, 15% at best over portions of the Snake Plain, and we even lose it down into the South Hills and Alameda Mountains, and also up towards Mount Bora, also up towards Gilmore Summit. So you can tell the northwest flow is still favoring the Sawtooth, the Eastern Highlands, the Bear River Range. Those percentages are above 70%. That's for 4 inches or more of snow. We'll jump up to 8 inches or more here of snow probability, and you can still see in those general areas the higher elevations of the Sawtooth and surrounding mountains, Bear River Range, the Tetons, the Big Holes. We're still looking at greater than 50%, and we'll just jump this up to a foot or more, and basically we drop off to around the potential of around 20 to 30% for the highest elevations of the Bear River Range. The Tetons, portions of the Big Holes, the mountains there on the west side of Yellowstone, bordering there on the Idaho border, we're still talking 60% or higher. Also the highest peaks of the Sawtooth, the spine of the Sawtooth, around 60%. Probability of 12 inches or more with this. Now, these are some early numbers. We'll probably see some fluctuation with this as we're seeing some uncertainty in the pattern and how it may develop as we head towards the middle part of this upcoming week before we get towards the end of the week and the Christmas holiday. So once again, we've got some pretty interesting weather coming our way, and like I said, until we get through the weekend through Monday, a lot of low clouds, some freezing fog, and or light snow in the morning hours. We start to see that potential of snow increasing, especially over the higher elevations Tuesday and Wednesday. We see those colder temperatures lasting probably, it looks like, through Monday before we start to warm things up, especially where we can get out from under the inversion conditions. Have a great Saturday, have a great weekend, and do stay safe out there, everyone.